Welcome on Curiosities.TV. In this video, I'll show you top 10 haunted places from around the world. 10. Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. Considered to be the most haunted place in Scotland and maybe even the world. In 2001, a group of paranormal investigators ruled that 51% premises witnessed the presence of ghosts. One of the most famous stories associated with a piper who was told to go through the underground tunnels of the castle. Piper had to play all the time. At some point, the sound of the music stopped and the player has never been found. 9. Eastern State Penitentiary, USA. Set in Philadelphia, Eastern State Penitentiary was built in 1829 and was the first prison in the United States. Prisoners were alienated from each other, slept, ate, and practiced in a continuous solitude. This resulted in frequent breakdowns. The prison was closed in 1971. Visitors at this property have reported the sounds of steps in the corridors. Cell number 12 is known for her laughter heard in, and so far, in one of the towers, seen a man guarding an empty prison. 8. Catacombs of Paris, France. Few tourists visiting the French capital know about this terrible place. In the 18th century, to avoid a raging epidemic in the overcrowded city, began to put up here corpses of Paris cemetery of Les Halles. There were about 6 million bodies. Visitors of catacombs believe that the feeling of frightened that accompanies them during tours of the Parisian underworld stems not only from the presence of numerous schools, but also from penetrating blasts of cold air, beliefs about being tracked, and even suffocation by ghosts. 7. Bran Castle, Romania. The most famous castle in Transylvania, place of residence of the legendary Count Dracula. Here, known to all vampire, killed thousands of people, sometimes torturing them for months. In fact, it hasn't been proved that the prototype of Count Dracula lived in the castle. Probably spent a few days here as a prisoner. 6. Hotel Stanley, USA. Completed in 1909, the Stanley Hotel in Colorado is constantly visited by ghost hunters. Place. Hotel inspired Stephen King to write The Shining. The writer provides that heard a little girl who is constantly calling his nanny, and room 217, where he lived, is known for constant slamming doors and turn on and turn off the lights. On the internet, there are pictures to be evidence of the presence of spirits. 5. Tower of London, England. Not surprisingly, the Tower of London is considered to be haunted. For centuries, held hundreds of executions and thousands of prisoners died in prison cells. The most famous strolling the fortress character is Anne Boleyn, one of Henry VIII's wives. It is said that Queen walks through corridors and carrying in the hands her own head. Other well-known figures moving around the tower is King Henry VI, Thomas Becket, and Lady Jane Grey. 4. Changi Beach, Singapore. Singaporean beach is considered a place of mass murder committed by Japanese soldiers on the Chinese during World War II. To this day, on the beach, you can hear the screams and wailing of innocent dead. Sometimes, at night, you can hit the holes that look like they were prepared to bury the corpses. The most frightening are reports of continuous finding headless bodies on the beach. 3. Battlefield of Gettysburg, USA. At the Battle of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, 50,000 soldiers were killed by what is known as the bloodiest battle in US history. Unprepared for the death, young soldiers still roam the fields, screaming and wailing. Wandering ghosts talk with tourists. You can hear the sound of gunfire, and on the internet you can watch the videos which shows their unidentified characters. 2. Queen Mary, USA. A luxury liner in 1967 was transformed into a hotel and still stands in Long Beach, California. The most famous ghosts here are 17 sailors who was killed when they tried to escape from outbreak of fire. Knocking and banging on the pipes was known by many people. On the other hand, on board, the spirits of children still play in the pool, and at the reception, seen the woman in white. 1. Salem, USA. Who has not heard about the Salem, which famous town in Massachusetts? It is here, more than 300 years ago, lost 19 witches. Apparently, their spirits still inhabit the streets, scaring the former home of Sheriff George Carwin, who ordered the arrest, torture, and finally hang accused of witchcraft, women and men.